Hey everyone, welcome to the Brachial Plexus. Hopefully I should say, not if you, hopefully by now you have watched the How to Draw the Brachial Plexus lab video. So you have a little practice, you get the basic format and structure of the brachial plexus, where it divides, where it converges. We are now going to take that information and try to apply it to a 3D model of the brachial plexus, which is actually super good. I mean, it's much easier, honestly, than a cadaver, because a cadaver would have arteries and fat and lymph nodes and all kinds of stuff hidden and buried within all of these structures. So that said, it still is going to look a little bit overwhelming to you. I'm kind of spinning around looking at the brachial plexus right now. I removed a lot of the cervical plexus. You can see kind of the difference, and some of the cranial nerves and things. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. So let's start off where you should always start off on the brachial plexus, and that is with the nerve roots. So here they are. Let's try to get a good little angle here. This is C5 nerve root, C6 nerve root, C7, C8, and T1. And you can kind of recognize from that, what is this here? Oh, okay. You can kind of recognize from our drawing how C5 and 6 come together. Right, there's 5 and 6, 7, 8, and T1. So those are the roots. Well, what's going to be next? Superior trunk, middle trunk, and inferior trunk. Let's confirm. So superior trunk, middle trunk, inferior trunk. Those are the trunks. Here are the divisions. I'm curious to see how they did the divisions. We're kind of learning this together because I haven't used this for the brachial plexus before either. I think I see 3 posterior divisions right there. They just say posterior divisions, but yeah, 1, 2, 3. So those are the 3 posterior divisions. And then if those are the posterior divisions, then this must be an anterior division. And they just highlight them all together. So there's 1, 2, and 3 right there. So you know that little X we draw? That's it. Oh, this is a much better view from the back. So here are the 3 posterior divisions. And then here's 1 anterior division, 2 anterior divisions, and 3. That's pretty tricky there. I'm not saying I wouldn't tag it, but I would try to make it as clear cut as possible. These 3 are clearly posterior divisions, right? There's 3 all converging posteriorly to form the posterior cord. So that's pretty easy. That's a pretty clear-cut anterior division. So I don't know. Just I guess for now I'm going to say know them, but that's not going to be my favorite question to ask because that is pretty tricky there. But you can do it if you know that drawing. You can say, okay, the 3 that come together are posterior divisions. The other 3, 1, 2, 3, are anterior divisions. So it's not too bad. Okay, so after divisions is chords. So the 3 posterior divisions come together to form the posterior cord, and there it is. This would be the lateral cord. Oh, I clicked too far up. This would be the lateral cord. And then this would be the medial cord. So there are 3 cords: lateral, posterior, and medial. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you, this isn't going to be easy to quiz on. So I'm going to have to find angles that allow you to reference landmarks, right? So for example, C8 and T1 coming together right here to form the inferior trunk, to form the anterior divisions, to form the medial cord. So if I tag this right here, what is that? That's probably the process you're going to have to employ, unless you can recognize that as medial cord right away, which you very well could because of the way they're positioned right next to each other, lateral and posterior and medial. You may have to follow this up and go, okay, that's a division of some kind, maybe a trunk. Okay, but here's C8 and T1 coming together to form the inferior trunk. So, okay, that from my picture, I know that's medial cord. Okay, I know it sounds a little optimistic right now, but you can do it. Here is the M I was talking about. Do you guys see an M? There it is. Musculocutaneous nerve, median nerve, and there's a lateral head of median nerve and medial head of median nerve. And then right here is ulnar nerve. They make a much bigger deal of the medial cutaneous nerve to the arm. They call it antebrachial cutaneous nerve. Synonyms, that's fine. It's not nearly that big in real life, but that's okay. And then this would be the, oh, I'm sorry, okay, so this is the medial cutaneous nerve to the arm. They call it the medial brachial cutaneous. This is the medial cutaneous nerve to the forearm. They call it the medial antebrachial cutaneous. I don't love how those are on here. It's not hyper realistic, so I probably won't ask about those. But anyway, sorry, back to our M. So remember, these are our cords. So we have our lateral cord and medial cord. Then we have our musculocutaneous nerve, median nerve, ulnar nerve. So now we're into branches. These are pretty large branches. Behind it all, we have the radial nerve. And you can see the radial nerve kind of stays posterior and has branches that go to like the triceps and brachialis and stuff, so it stays pretty deep, whereas the other nerves all stay medial anterior, going down the front of the arm. But again, here they are. Musculocutaneous, median, ulnar. Those are the three branches of the M. So now we need to do all the other branches. So remember, there was 4 branches coming off the posterior cord. It was called UTLA. So here's the posterior cord. Let's see if we can find them. We're honestly finding them together. Okay, yeah, I see what they're doing here. It's pretty good, actually. So I see 1, 2. Let's see if we can find them all. Honestly, this isn't exactly how they look on a cadaver, but it's not too bad. So the only problem is, yeah, they just call it scapular nerve. That's the problem. Where is their axillary nerve? That is the question. Oh, yeeks. This is crazy. I'm going to move the scapula, if you guys don't mind, for a second, so we can look this way. Okay. They have the axillary nerve coming off of the radial nerve. That's a little different. I'm not going to say it's wrong. That's just not typically how it's depicted. But as someone who's looked at a lot of cadavers, that does happen. So it isn't technically wrong. But typically it's drawn, and on a cadaver it's seen much closer to the other branches, UTL. So they have those drawn all the way up here. And they have U and L drawn as one nerve called subscapular nerve. That's fine. That isn't accurate. But that is one I actually do take a little issue with, but that's okay. I mean, one of the things in anatomy is variation, so we have to be a little bit comfortable with variation. We can't just say, no, this is the way the textbook says it, because we would have been having the same issue in lab too. We would have been like, oh, well, this cadaver doesn't have that, or this looks different in this cadaver, or it comes off here in this cadaver. So in textbooks and notes, we do what is true most of the time, and they've just gone a slightly different direction than what is true most of the time. But a cadaver would be the same way. So let's go through the branches again. So scapular nerve, in our notes, we're labeling this as 2 distinct nerves because that's typically the case. Upper subscapular nerve and lower subscapular. They've drawn it as one. They've drawn it as one nerve. Okay, that's fine. This is thoracodorsal nerve. And then they have axillary nerve coming off way down here. So that is ULT and A. So our UTLA off our posterior cord is still present. This is very different, and because it is so different from your notes, I'm probably going to steer clear of asking this question, but here it is, and although different than how I typically see it in cadavers and in textbooks, it's not wrong. So let's look at some more branches. Let's see if we can find dorsal scapular. Now think back to your notes. Where does dorsal scapular come off of? If you can think of your notes, it comes off of C5. So here's C5 nerve root. So is this dorsal scapular? No, it's long thoracic. Is this dorsal scapular? Yes, there's dorsal scapular. Long thoracic nerve, if you remember it, also comes off of C5, but it comes off of C6 and C7 too. Do you see that? So if you think back to your picture, there it is coming off of C5, C6, and I don't see necessarily, I guess it's touching C7 there. So yeah, it's pulling fibers from C7 as well, so 5, 6, and 7. That's long thoracic. Typically, because we can't dissect a cadaver quite this well, we only see long thoracic where it appears on the side of the rib cage, which is, they've drawn it in here. So typically on a cadaver, you're looking on the side of the rib cage at serratus anterior, so let's add some muscles in here. You're seeing it lying on top of serratus anterior. That's typically how you're seeing long thoracic. But because of this model, we can actually get all the way up here and see it. This is more accurate to what you'd probably be seeing on a cadaver. If I could somehow add some fat in here too, no, I can't. Then this would be looking pretty accurate. A lot of times we'll reflect some muscles so you can see a little bit better. But anyway, so it gets pretty tough to see the roots though in this case. See how difficult that is? C5 and 6 are hidden by the scalenes. But anyway, it does give you some perspective as to where it comes out though. So anyway, we're talking about long thoracic right here. Here's dorsal scapular. Dorsal scapular nerve going back there to innervate all sorts of shoulder muscles. Now let's see if we can find suprascapular. Suprascapular and nerve to subclavius. Think back to your picture. Honestly, if you don't have that picture really down pat right now, I would just stop the video and just really get that photo down, because that's the only way to make this work. This is new for me too, and you can see that, utilizing my knowledge of layout, you can sort of figure this out. So anyway, here is subclavian nerve, or nerve to subclavius, same thing. What I'm not seeing is suprascapular. What was this? That can't be no, okay. So there's subclavian nerve. Maybe they drew it farther down. Oh, yep, maybe. No, those are divisions. I wish I could like type in the search box. Suprascapular. I'm not seeing a suprascapular. They may just not have one. Dorsal, long thoracic, nerve to subclavius. You know what would be kind of cool is, let's look at, yeah, they draw nerve to subclavius coming to the subclavius muscle. That's kind of cool. Can't really see that normally, but okay, let's see if we can find the pectoral nerves. I'm guessing these are them. Yep, medial and lateral pectoral. Now what's cool is I can tag it farther out here, but I would want to make sure you can see the origin, because then you can rely on your knowledge of the picture. So here's lateral cord, and we know a branch coming off the lateral cord is the lateral pectoral nerve. There it is. And here's medial cord, and we know a branch coming off the medial cord is medial pectoral nerve. And there it is. That's not a part of the brachial plexus. Neither is that. That's our subscapular nerve we've already talked about. I think we've covered all the branches. Oh, no, we did cover the medial cutaneous to the arm and forearm. We've covered the M. Just a reminder on the M, muscular cutaneous nerve, lateral head of median nerve, medial head of median nerve, and then ulnar nerve. Okay, that's the M. The cords again, lateral, posterior, medial. The trunks up here, superior, middle, inferior. They did a pretty darn good job with the divisions. There are the posterior divisions. Here are the anterior divisions. All three of them. 1, 2, and 3 anterior divisions. And that, my friends, is a wrap. That's it for the brachial plexus. So I don't know how I'm feeling about this. I'm feeling good. I think you guys can study the picture and play with this app and find everything. My fear is come quiz time, it's going to be difficult to find the right angle to make me feel confident that you can see all the structures. So we may end up doing, well, I shouldn't say we may. I'm going to really try to do one in-person brachial plexus lab in our actual lab facility before the midterm. And then those dates are in the calendar in the syllabus under files. But for now, please watch the how to draw video, watch this video, and try to combine that information in your head. Practice drawing, practice manipulating the brachial plexus. There are free apps if you don't want to buy this one. I think Zygote Body, which used to be Google Body, now is zygotebody.com. I just can't speak to the quality. I don't know. I'll take a look and post something. But if you can get this app, that'd be fantastic, and you can manipulate these structures, because in a week from today, I'm going to be posting a quiz, and there's going to be, I'd like to try to do videos, but we've had problems with videos last quarter. So as of now, let's assume it's photos, and it's going to be, what is this structure? And you're going to need to say lateral cord, okay, or what is this structure? And you're going to need to say lateral head of median nerve, okay? So you're going to probably need to practice quite a bit to make sure you can do that next week, okay? I'm going to get this posted as quickly as I can here, and then start working on your guys' quiz on the brain and cranial nerves, which will also be posted tonight. Thanks.